Well, you've been driving some really nice estate and saloon cars over the last few years, but it's time to go fully electric. What do you do? Well, Ireland's fastest man got in touch with us. Said he's thinking about getting a Polestar 2, wants to take one out for a week-long test. Let's go meet David Gillick now and find out what he thinks about this.
Take a moment, enjoy the calm. You could be stuck on the N7 with two teething toddlers, but we don't do stress at the AA. We do roadside rescue, and our trained mechanics fix 8 out of 10 problems at the roadside. Buy online now at theAA.ie. Relax. Yellow and black have got your back.
David, good to meet you.
How's it going?
You all right? Absolute pleasure. One of Ireland's fastest men ever. So, look, anyway, you're thinking about going electric.
Yeah, no, I am. It's something that I've thought about over the last number of years. But I've yet to take that step and take that plunge. And again, you kind of read various bits and bobs about, you know, EV cars, and not only just the car, but like things like the range, where you're going to charge it, what do I need to do to get something into my house, is that the cost involved, all those little things. And sometimes the things, because it's new, you kind of just think, oh, I don't know, actually, I'll just stick to what I know. I like the edginess of it, I like the grille at the front as well.
Yeah, and you've got the Polestar there, obviously, the famous one. And you see the way they kind of keep that grille as well, and there's a little bit of kind of radar equipment in here. You've got the camera as well, which is great for parking and things like that.
Okay, so it's got a front camera.
Yeah, and one for reversing as
well.
And
a rear camera
so there's loads of sensors on it as well. Yeah, and while we're talking about the front, let me show you this as well. So, down here, we don't have engine problems, because it's just an electric motor in here. A frunk.
A frunk?
Yeah, which is a combination of a front trunk. Now, when you might say a fruit, you know, here the Americans would say a frunk, that seems to cut on. But yeah, you've got about 40 or 50 litres of space in there, so you stick your cables in. But also, you know, if you want to put a smelly curry on a Friday night or something like that, keep it out of the way, pop it in there.
So, there's no engine?
So you've got, in this one that we have here today, there's 2 motors.
Okay.
So you've got one motor to drive the front wheels, and you've got a separate motor in the back to drive the back wheels.
Right.
Now, as you can see, pretty snowy, terrible conditions for driving. You're going to love this when we go out and drive it.
All-wheel drive?
All-wheel drive. Traction's just, incredible.
Okay. And what about then, like, kind of, like, let's say maintenance? So I can see, obviously, water, windscreen, right? But what about, like, oil and all that? Is that just a thing of the past?
There are things to do. You want to make sure, you know, if you're going for your NCT, and you want to get your yearly service just to keep up the warranties and stuff like that, just to make sure, because they'll plug in a laptop, diagnostics. You want to make sure the suspension is okay, your brake discs, your brake pads haven't corroded. In fact, what some EV drivers find is that the brake pads can corrode because they never use the physical brake pads, because you use regen to slow you down, recuperate energy to charge back up the battery. So, you know, you're driving in wet weather. Interesting. They don't dry out because you don't have the friction. Yeah. And they can corrode. So it's just something to watch out for. But in terms of like, you don't have fan belts, timing belts, oil changes, you know, spark plugs, all these things are gone. It's a sealed unit in there, which will probably never be opened in the lifetime of the vehicle. Wow. And same for the battery as well. So, David, will we have a look inside? Because I thought I was 6'2", but you're a bit more, are you?
I'm 6'2.5", yeah. So, like, space is obviously something important to me, and as I mentioned, kind of family-wise as well, you know, we a couple of kids and dog and all that sort of stuff. So, you know, again, space is something, but again, I kind of, it's leg length as well for me. So that kind of cockpit kind of feel as well. I don't want to be too tight. I need a bit of space, you know. Okay, well, let's have a look. So keyless entry just there. Oh wow, okay, this.
So there you go, you don't need to open or anything like that, just open up the door, have a seat, just get a feel for space. Now the one that we're in here today, it's got the Plus pack, so if you look up, glass roof.
Oh yeah, look
and you got a few little extras inside. There's your seats are just adjustable there. So how are you finding space inside?
Straight away, I feel very, very comfortable. The seat, really, really comfortable. Plenty of space, and again, as you said, I can move the seat. So there's a lot of leg room there, good head space as well.
Yeah. Not just like forward and back as well. You got lumbar supports. You see that circular one there? You hold down one of those, you'll feel your lower back there. Yeah, it'll press it into you.
Yeah.
Which is
like straight away, it's very, the interior is gorgeous. Yeah. This kind of wood effect here is lovely.
Yeah, and you can have all different types of upholstery, so it's not just the one, you know, you can choose different materials.
I like the height of the headrest here as well. Yeah. So again, when you're tall.
Do you want to have a look in the back then? Because if you're set up there as someone who's 6'2", we can have a look in the back then. How are you finding that?
Yes, I didn't, you know, it's funny when you look from the outside, you think it's kind of like a compact saloon. So you think there's not going to be a whole lot of leg room. But again, I'm 6'2", And that's perfect in the back. And again, what I like is there's plenty of head height. And the visual here as well, it's quite nice, it's open, it's airy. The roof is class.
Yeah.
The roof was amazing, yeah.
That's right. I mean, maybe your kids are a little bit young, but you've got your USB connections there, charge devices and stuff if you need it.
Heated seats in the back?
Yeah.
Luxury?
Oh, there's heated steering wheel and 3 different levels, and then 3 different levels of heated seats in the front as well.
A heated steering wheel, now that's a proper luxury.
Oh yeah, yeah. We have a look in the boot.
Okay, so
yeah, open it.
How do I open it?
Go ahead.
There's no button.
We're actually down here.
All right.
Just in there.
Ah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's massive.
Yeah, it's good amount of space in it. There's actually more. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And come around you there, there's these little links so they can support it up there if you need it.
Oh, very good.
Keep it up. And then also, check this one out here. So you've got a couple of bags, you don't want it rolling around, put them in the back there and lift that flap up. And then there's straps here as well to tie it all down.
That's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. On top of what's in the frunk as well, or the fruit.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of space in there, hidden compartments.
Yeah, and then a little 12 volts socket just there as well for a few devices if you need it. It's nice to have an extra bit of power.
Again, it's surprising, like, because it doesn't look like the biggest of cars from the outside, but yeah, it seems fairly well thought out in terms of space.
Yeah, well, that's one of the great things about EVs is that you don't have all the paraphernalia that comes with a traditional combustion car.
Yeah.
So you really, what they essentially do now, it's a kind of a rudimentary, a rude description, but a bit like a skateboard where you've got the 4 wheels out in the corners, and then that platform in the middle is your battery, and then everything else just gets plops and pop because you don't have drive shafts going from front to back.
So that chunky thing that sits in the middle.
Yeah, gives a bit of space. And here's another nice little feature. You can
automatic tailgates. Yeah.
See the one on the right with the keying?
Yeah.
Listen, so if you press that one, it closes itself, but it'll also lock it. So you just walk back into your house now. You don't need to think about locking your car or anything like that.
It's all locked.
That's closed and now just automatically locked.
Very good.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
So we charge it just there. So you press that and the flap opens up. So you see you've got 2 different ports just there.
This one here?
Yeah, so the top one is kind of, very quick, rough description is your AC charger, which is slower. So your charger that you might get installed at home, you'll take out what's called that Type 2 socket and you'll plug it in just there. And you're looking at an overnight charge. So if you turn home at 10%, plug it in at 6, 7, 8 in the evening, you'll be completely full again by, 6, 7, 8 the next morning. No problem.
All right.
It's fine. And the other thing
is that coming out of like your house plug, like 3-pin standard?
Well, you can plug in a 3-pin.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a lot slower. So that goes at the equivalent of about 2 kilowatts, which is the same amount of power as your kettle will draw, for example. Right. So quite slow. Yeah. But if you get the dedicated home chargers, you go from 2 up to 7 kilowatts.
Yeah.
And then some of the public ones will have 11 kilowatts. So at that stage, it's a nice quick top up. But there's also DC charging, that's direct current. That's where you plough the energy into the battery.
Right.
And this will go up to 150 kilowatts. So your granny was 2 kilowatts.
Okay.
On DC, it'll go up to 150.
So obviously from a time perspective, that's very quick.
Yeah, that's half an hour, just 10 back up to 80%, something along those lines, you're gone again.
Right. And they're located all over the country, different places.
They are. Yeah. There's lots around. Now, the infrastructure is not where it should be.
Okay.
It's not as easy as refuel. So you do need to plan a little bit. You need to kind of be aware of, right, if I've got 50% left, left in my battery, that's going to get me roughly 180 to 200 kilometers. Right. You kind of need to be aware of some of those things. But it's a bit like settling in, when you get your first mobile phone and you go from digital to touch screen. And, it takes a little bit of time to get used to. But you will. So we take out that rubber bong there. And then you've got the 2 extra pins.
Very good.
And that's the DC charger.
Oh, so they are around, they are common, they are like,
they're
just got to
maybe
have to get on, there's an app or something for this crack these days.
Yeah, you can check the app to see if it's available at the time. Now, unfortunately, you might turn up, there's only one charger there,
could be someone
ahead of you, so you might have to wait a little bit longer. But the thing is, with a car like this, even at motorway speeds, like worst case scenario, absolute worst case scenario is 300 kilometres. That's where we are here in Dublin, to anywhere on the island, Ireland, essentially.
Say the battery, and they hear things, you have to charge it full. Does the battery degrade over time?
It does.
Okay.
But people have, like the mobile phone, it's useless after 2 or 3 years. This has a battery management system.
Okay.
So when I say that this has a 75 kilowatt hour battery, that's what's usable. There's actually 78 in there. They don't give you access to the little bit at the bottom and the little bit at the top. And then also there's thermal management. So when you're charging your phone or it's in your pocket, it's going up to 40 degrees and that'll damage the battery. With these, there's coolant in there, it keeps the batteries at the optimal temperature and just have light. So look, you buy this car 10 years time, it's still gonna be fine. It might have dropped down to 85% capacity or something like that. But it'll be absolutely fine.
That would probably be normal with a lot of cars after 10 years in terms of efficiency and stuff.
They'll degrade anyway, yeah. I mean, after that, they'll probably take out the battery, put it into commercial or home storage, and we'll do another 20 years there.
Yeah.
So, look, they do degrade, but the idea that they're going to be useless after 3 or 5 or even 10 years is just not the case.
In terms of, you plug it into your house, again, there's conflicting things you read and you hear about in terms of like the cost of energy, and is it a drain on kind of your household's energy consumption, or?
Yeah, your electricity bill will go up. So if you take this car as a 75 kilowatt hour battery, let's say you want to put 50 kilowatt hours into it, and you're paying something like 30 cents at the moment because it's really expensive.
Okay.
That's 15 euros for that.
To fill it?
Well, so a fill might be something like 20 euros. But if you've got a night rate, that will be down below 10 euros.
Yeah, but still a lot more favourable than pulling into a forecourt.
Oh, yeah. And multiple times cheaper. If you've got home, now if you pay, top dollar on the fast charging public networks, you're kind of approaching parity. But you've got to drive right home, you're plugging in at home, you're going to find, me personally, I think it's about 5 times cheaper using my night rates than it would be for an equivalent petrol or diesel.
But then you're also looking at maintenance costs should hopefully be lower. Road tax?
120 euros a year
120
for a 400 horsepower car.
Yeah, that's cheaper.
Will we check out what 400 horsepower is like?
We will, let's do it.
Okay. All right, we go for it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
how do I turn it on?
Great question. There's no handbrake. There's no, normally you put your key in the ignition, you turn the fire. There's none of that. So all you do is put your foot on the brake pedal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now this is your gear selector.
Right.
That's the thing about EVs. There's really only 2 gears, which is reverse and forward. So yeah, in pretty much every EV out there, there's really only just 1 gear that drives you forward.
Okay.
And we'll get onto that later on. But yeah, so if you've got your foot on the brake and then pull it back into D.
Main D? Yeah.
Give it all the way back.
Oh yeah.
Seconds.
Yeah, very nice.
Just remember, it's really snowy and icy, and we have 400 horsepower here.
You're nervous, are you?
No, you can handle speed.
Oh, look at it. Yeah, it's so quiet.
Yeah, silent, and like you put down the window there. The only thing we can hear is crunching snow.
And you. Oh yeah, I see the kind of, when you come off the accelerator, it automatically just kind of, Oh right, that's how. So that's the brakes kicking in.
Yeah, but for the very last bit, it's the friction brakes that will stop you.
Oh, it's very smooth. Yeah. I've never had a heated steering wheel before, so
you control that down here. So if we tap that icon, so you've got 3 different levels of heated seats, 3 different levels of heated steering wheel, and then air conditioning for your seat as well. Not just
okay.
Yeah. And then I've got the same on my side as well.
So when I'm stopped like this, do I put my foot on the brake?
You don't have to, no.
I don't have to?
No. Because it's 1 pedal driving.
Clear, yeah. There we go.
Now you can change that. There's settings here. So if we press car, we go 1 pedal drive down here. So it's on standard now.
Oh, okay.
You can turn that to low or off altogether if you wanted.
Oh, get used to it. Like that there when you're taking off, very smooth. It's lovely.
It's always fascinating to see people's experience with their first time in an EV and how they find that.
It's just got so much power there. But it's still very smooth. Like that's the thing that is amazing. I know we're not going overly quick here, we're on the motorway, but I just can't get over how smooth and comfortable it is. It might sound a bit crazy, but it's almost like you're flying in many ways, you know what I mean? It's that smooth, no turbulence, of course.
Yeah.
Oh gee, yeah, feel that? Wow.
You didn't even hit half power there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, it feels very solid. It's not, you know what I mean? It doesn't feel like you'd lose control. It seems very like it's stuck to the ground. It's the power is kind of it's controlled in many ways. If that may, I don't know if I'm making sense here, but it just seems like, you know, when you touch it, it's so responsive, but yet it's in a controlled manner.
Yeah, some people say that all the power is there, the performance is there, but when you're just pottering along, it's like driving Miss Daisy. It's so refined and quiet. And then when you want, put your foot down. And
yeah. Like, I'm not sure what I kind of expected. You know, it's kind of one of these things. I've nothing to base it on. I can only base on what I would normally drive, which is a diesel car. Yeah. You know, so again, you're kind of going from a comfort perspective. It's really nice, but you're also nice and high. You're not very low in the car.
Yeah, we're sitting on top of that battery pack.
As we're coming up, that's a Tiguan there, is it?
Yeah.
Like that's SUV, but yet we almost feel we're at the same height from a driving perspective. We're not like lower down, which is I like being high.
Here's another nice feature as well. So you see on the right side there on your steering wheel.
Yeah.
See the top one with the face.
Yeah.
You press that. Navigate to Sandyford.
Navigating to Sandyford.
So this has Google built into the car.
Very good. Yeah.
So, and it brings up the maps.
Didn't touch my brakes at all. That's deadly. And like when I'm stationary, no need, you can rest.
Yeah. That's it. And in fact, if you're in traffic now and the car in front of you moves off, it'll beep to say, do you want to move on?
Okay.
And then you just accelerate up. But we can change that. If you wanted to creep forwards, you can change all that in the settings.
And all this is, like, obviously, it's the latest tech, so it connects with everything, Android, iPhone, all that.
Yeah. The guys in Polestar will hook your phone up to it and show you how to connect all the apps. Because it's Google built in, so it's Android. You can have various apps on it. So this only has a few here at the moment. Yeah. But you can obviously change that around yourself. But, you know, you want to play through Bluetooth, Spotify, whatever you want is there. That's a wireless charger and 2 USB connections.
Wireless charger?
Yeah. Because we're navigating back to Sandyford, you can see the instructions there on the screen.
Yeah, I can see the arrow, so that's...
And if you press that little tab, that'll bring up the map for you.
Oh, brilliant, yeah.
So you don't have to look over at the tablet.
That's really impressive. All the information there, but it's very clear. Yeah, it's really cool.
And that's because it's Google built in. You can see it's got traffic as well. So the little bits of orange is where we're going to come across traffic and stuff. Yeah. And I found it to be quite accurate as well. And as well as that, it tells you the battery, so we're going to arrive on 80% when we get back.
Oh, so that's what it's telling us when we arrive.
Yeah.
So it's not the current.
No, your current is over there. It's 90%.
Ah, okay, yeah.
And we'll arrive on 87, which is great. So if you're sitting there and you go, I need to head to, you know, you're going to a track meet to cover it. You just plug your directions in. It'll tell you I'm going to arrive on 55% or whatever it is. It's just an easy, like, as long as the charging fits into you and fits with you and your lifestyle, then it's incredibly easy. And people say, well, it takes, you know, hours and hours to charge. You know, well, yeah, it does, but it only took me 4 or 5 seconds to plug it in when I got home. Yeah. So a full charge takes me about 10 to 12 seconds by the time you plug it in, plug it back out, and then you're gone again. So it's about fitting it into your lifestyle, and that can take a little bit of adjustment.
Yeah, well, it's new for people, so there's obviously a change required. See, the whole thing, this is all new for an awful lot of people, as it is for me. So, like, all these kind of questions are the things that I'd imagine a lot of people are kind of thinking of when it comes to EV. And, you know, you hear various things and various opinions, but, you know, if you are seriously thinking about it, there's plenty of ways to maximize it for yourself in terms of, like, cost, in terms of, you know, lifestyle, all that. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, this feels cool. And it's a joy to drive. And at the same time, you know, if I can reduce my car expenditure in terms of, like, maintenance, in terms of tax, in terms of fuel costs and all that sort of stuff, it kind of sounds like a win, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Like, it's a lot of money up front. EVs are kind of more expensive than the combustion counterparts at the moment. Yeah. But then once you factor in total cost of ownership, which is what people really should do, how much am I going to spend in total over the 3 or 5 years, then they might get a surprise.
Yeah.
So we're back in the Polestar Space now. What did you make of your experience?
I'm actually blown away by how good the car was to drive. I think there's a number of things that, like the power that you have, how responsive it is, even in terms of braking. Like that one kind of pedal system to it is fascinating, but it's very easy to just drive. It's really smooth. The driving experience, very comfortable, and even at this, like, you know, when you go to 100 to 120, the car is so smooth and so kind of solid. You know, so the driving experience is like, it's like you said, it's like driving Miss Daisy, but yet you're going places.
Yeah,
you know,
effortless acceleration, some people call it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like, but it's how responsive it is, and I think overall, like, it's an impressive car. Aesthetically, very pleasing. Internally, plenty of space. Again, I'm tall. I've got long arms and long legs, so you know the driving experience from that perspective it's great. You know, I can't fault it. Yeah.
And what's your impression on terms of range and charging? Do you think it could fit into your lifestyle? Because that might be a deal breaker for some people.
Yeah, no, I think, like, for me personally, I'd probably invest in getting the charger at home. I think in terms of my lifestyle as well, like, you know, how often do I drive? How far do I drive? Am I going long distance? You know, again, these are the things that you kind of have to sit down and go, well, like, realistically, you know, how many Ks do I do a day, a week, a month, and build it in? And obviously then kind of look at the cost of that as well. But I think for me personally, I think it would very much suit my lifestyle. I think the accessibility to charging points around, I know in my local park there's a charging point, so again, I'm aware of these places. And again, I think that's kind of the change that a lot of people just need to kind of make and go, okay, well, where are these places? If I don't have one at home, where can I charge? And build that maybe into your journey. But, you know, when I look at a range of like 470 kilometers, I wouldn't be doing that in a week, so I probably wouldn't have to charge it as often as I might think, you know. So again, it's kind of just weighing all that up. But I think overall, again, it goes back to that kind of sustainability piece as well. And it's nice to know that maybe you're doing a little bit to help the planet, again, emissions. But again, kind of even what you were saying about like the recycled plastics and stuff like that they've used for the cockpit and the inside of the car as well. It's nice to know that like all of that is coming together in a very, you know, aesthetically pleasing car, but also from a performance point of view, it's ridiculous. Like, it's amazing how much power you have at your disposal if needed.
Yeah. Look, I really appreciate you coming down and meeting us. It's a pleasure to meet you anyway, just because of your background and what you've done. You know,
well, I'm not as fast as I was, so like, yeah, I think the car has taken my place.
Great. Thanks very much.
Cheers. Nice one. Thanks a lot.